So genetics for me actually started in high school. I was taking a CCP course in biology and we had a lesson on genetics and I absolutely loved it. And I reached out to my high school teacher and I was like, I love genetics, what can I do with this? And she referred me to genetic counseling, and then from there, after I did like one night search of it, I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. After I heard that Vanderbilt had a program, I kind of the same thing, looked into it and I was reading through everything, and I really loved how well I felt like my personal life lined up with the other students that I had seen that had been accepted. So there were people that were involved in some of the things that I was involved in. They liked the same things, and I thought that would be a really good fit for me. Me and my husband moved down here about a week before orientation started, and I found out that I was pregnant 3 days before orientation started. So I was like, having clearly a mental breakdown. I'm like, what am I gonna do? What happened? The first person that I told that I was pregnant, like literally other than my husband, was our program coordinator, Sonia. I texted her the next day and I was like, hey, and I knew Sonia from interviews and from like other communications, but I didn't really know her like that well. And I was like, I need to talk to you on the phone. I don't know what to do. Like, I need some guidance on what's to come next. And I called her, talked to her on the phone. I was like, so I'm pregnant. And the first thing that came out of her mouth was, congratulations, like, we're so happy for you. Literally the sweetest person in the world. And she was so happy for me. So after that, I like took a deep breath and I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And she really supported me. She's like, we can make this work. We will talk, like, if this is something that you still want to do, we'll talk things through and get everything figured out. And I was like, I want to do this if you guys will still have me. And then like a day later, Jill reached out to me and she helped set up like my OBGYN appointments. And like, she like truly, like, I can't even describe to you how supportive everyone in the program has been. Not just like the immediate people, but even other supervisors that I had for a rotation or just for a day or two. Everyone has been so helpful with everything that I've needed. I love my cohort so much. Truly, that was probably one of the biggest concerns that I had for graduate school, and one of the reasons why looking into what the other students looked like at a program was kind of top of my list. Was because I really wanted to go somewhere that was super collaborative and I could turn to my classmates for anything. And that obviously became very true when I had a baby. I relied on them for so much. They have helped with babysitting, taking care of Annabeth, literally everything. My one classmate, she has a daughter too, so she helped me get set up with daycare and has been a huge help as well. So I am very fortunate for all of them. I felt included and loved and supported by literally everyone down here, and being away from my family back home has been really hard, so it was very nice to have my own family here. All of my supervisors stand out for very different reasons, and so it's hard to pinpoint one that has been like the most essential, I suppose. I will always be super grateful for Katie Lang. She was my supervisor when I went out on leave, and she worked with me literally setting up my schedule week by week because I didn't know when I was gonna be out. So I will always be super grateful for her help with that. But yeah, it's really hard to pick one. When I was deciding what research I wanted to do, I really wanted something broad that was going to be very beneficial for genetic counseling. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I'd never done my own research before, but I needed something that was going to be impactful. Like, I didn't want to do something that was just kind of going to be done once I was done. I used PSS data, which is a professional status survey for genetic counselors, and requested the Tennessee specific data about different billing practices. And that information informed some interviews that I did with genetic counselors across the state about how they are currently billing at their institutions, because right now genetic counseling is not, the billing for genetic counseling services is not super established because we're a relatively new field. We don't get reimbursed at the same rate as physicians and other high level doctors at healthcare institutions. So there's a lot of different ways that genetic counselors bill in order to best fit the needs of themselves and their institutions. The overall goal of this was to kind of see what helps genetic counselors at their institution and what are different barriers that they face, and kind of paint the picture of best practices and see what different things can be implemented, what resources genetic counselors need for billing, what things need to happen at the national level within healthcare in order to have better practices for genetic counselors, and really just sustain the genetic counseling field as a whole, so that way we're better able to advocate for our positions and then also create new positions. I love with our program how we're able to hear stories of patients and families. We have a topics class where we bring in guest speakers, and they come in and they're patients themselves who have had these genetic conditions, possibly seen genetic counselors, and really hearing how these conditions impact their lives, the lives of their families, has given me so much knowledge and really influences how I want to counsel in where I'm at now and in the future. The Legacy Project itself is something that all of the cohorts in Master of Genetic Counseling classes at Vanderbilt do. So before they graduate, they have to come up with some type of project, either there's been people who have created a new rotation for us, a lot of resources have been created that other classes after them can benefit from. We create great research projects at Vanderbilt for genetic counseling as well, but we don't have a lot of genetic counselors or students come in without having previous research experience. So we felt as a cohort, the classes after us would really benefit from having a better starting point of, here are the resources that are available for you at Vanderbilt through NSGC, here are some example papers, here's a list of all the different students that have published, and really just kind of giving more options than what is just discussed in class or known from passing by. So we really wanted to organize all of that information and kind of give our own tips and tricks for how we came to our research and where it's going from there. I think that I would really advise people to get close with your cohort, get close with your supervisors. They are all there to help you and they all want to help you. They are supervisors because they love supervising. They love being with students, and they really are the sweetest people. I cannot say enough good things about all of them. So I really suggest using your network of people here, reaching out when you have questions. Not just in our program, but Vanderbilt as a whole has a lot of really great resources that I don't think that you'd be able to find at a lot of other universities. So I highly suggest just taking advantage of everything that Vanderbilt has to offer and that Nashville has to offer, because the city is great.